In the sedan market, sadly, there's not that many options. You have the sales leader, the Toyota Camry, followed by the Honda Accord, and then you have this guy, which is the Hyundai Sonata, and its corporate sibling, the Kia K5, and maybe the Nissan Altima if it doesn't go away, because Nissan goes in and out. But anyway, this is the 2026 Hyundai Sonata Limited Hybrid. This thing is an MPG king. I drove it today, about an hour drive north from where I live, and I was getting a solid 51 miles per gallon, which is crazy. And I was in cruise control. I was doing about speed limit, which is about 65. I wasn't by myself. Absolutely excellent. And on the low end, I got about 42 miles per gallon. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I do car reviews like this and a little bit of DIY. And if you want to help out the channel, do me a huge favor, click that subscribe button down below so you can continue to see content like this and many, many more. And for all you current subscribers, thank you for watching, for liking and sharing my videos. You guys are awesome. But before I continue, I want to give a big thank you to Hyundai for allowing me to have this Hyundai Sonata Limited 2026 in my home test area for me to live with for the past week to review for you guys. Thank you very much, Hyundai, and thank you all. Stay tuned, that's coming up next. Before we go into the interior, let's take a look at the powertrain of the 2026 Hyundai Sonata Limited. All right, very simple affair down here. There's a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine paired to Hyundai's hybrid system, which is the inverter motor, and those yellow cables you see are the ones going back to that battery, hybrid battery underneath the seat. Engine filter is right here, super easy to get to. This is an inline 4, so spark plugs, everything's super easy to get to. And total system power is 192 horsepower combined. It does have a 6-speed automatic, not a CVT, which is excellent because it feels and drives just like a normal gas car does without the hybrid system. So anybody driving this is gonna be like, oh, this is not a hybrid, this is a regular car. And you'd be like, no, 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 it is a hybrid. It just has a regular transmission. All right, let's jump in the interior. Let's look at the tech, the features, and then we go for my final drive. Stay tuned for that. Okay, let's talk 2026 Hyundai Sonata Limited. So this generation facelift came out in 2024, which is a major refresh from the previous generation of 2022. People did not like the way they would look. The other one looked, so Hyundai completely redesigned the front end, the rear end, the rear end more slightly than the front end. The front end was massive, and a new interior, which we'll go over in a second. So up front, you have this light bar all the way that goes across. So right now, because the car is running, it's a hybrid, so the engine is off, you only have these two guys as daytime running lights. At night, the entire light bar lights up. And these are also the turn signals. So the turn signals are there. Everything in this car is LED, high beam, low beam, daytime running lights, brake light, pretty much everything is LED. And the front end, it is very bold. I do like the way it looks. You got these kind of like hideaway headlights, which are right here and right there. No fog lights in this particular trim. You do have parking sensors all over the front. Maybe hard to pick up on camera, and because it's very sunny and black, but they are all in the front. It does have a 360 camera, which is standard on the limited trim. And you do have a little bit of air channels, if you can see that on camera right there, to channel air to cool down the brakes. And let's talk about it. I think this is a very good looking sedan. This color is called Ultimate Red, and it's a $500 option. And let me just give you guys a little side profile. And it looks a little very, very sleek. Very striking color. The interior is white, which we'll go over in a second. The wheels are Kumo Solis 215s 55 on 17-inch wheels. And I gotta say, this thing is very, very comfortable. Very smooth, because as you guys can see, there is a lot of tire meat there. It does have integrated turn signals in the fenders. And let me actually turn them on so you guys can see what they look like real quick. you guys can see the whole picture. So of course you don't have them in the mirror. They were removed and they're in the fender, which is a nice little touch. And it also lines up with the turn signals up front. So this is what they look like when you have the turn signals on, and they're very bright, very effective. So continuing on the side profile here, there's a look at what it looks like. And they're bright in daytime, so at night they could be even brighter. So, and this being the limited trim, does have a very nice large size panoramic glass sunroof, which we'll go over a little bit in the interior section. And I gotta say, this generation Hyundai Sonata is a looker. I like that line that goes all the way from the back to the front. Engine just turned on because I've been having the car running with the AC. And then moving on to the back. Back here, they didn't really change much compared to the previous generation. They did some slight tweaking to the lighting. But as you guys can see, there are full LED turn signals back here. And then what's tail light is this little light bar goes all the way across. And this little kind of like a T-shape kind of thing right here that lights up at night. And you got your reverse lights are right here. Sonata is spelled large. And third brake light is right there in the glass. You got your little shark fin antenna. And the license plate is right here on the bottom. And you guys can see my newly acquired vanity plate with the channel name. And if you scan that QR code, you guys can subscribe by scanning it. Selfish self-plug, but hey, I gotta do it. And you do have integrated parking sensors all over the rear bumper. And now that we're back here, that's how you access the trunk, which is a nicely hidden button right here next to the backup camera. And this is a power trunk, as you guys can see. This is standard on the limited trim. And back here, you have about 15.6 cubic inches of space, which is larger than its competitor, the Toyota Camry. These seats do fold down completely, so you can just pull down these levers right here, like so. Let me see if I can leave the camera here without falling. Let's see if I can maybe leave it here for a second, show you guys what that looks like. And hello, you can just fold them like so. And this way you can maximize your cargo carrying capability. You can put weird, awkward items. And you're probably wondering, how's that even possible? Because this car's a hybrid. That's a very good question. Hyundai decided to hide the battery underneath the lower seat cushion to allow to be able to make this happen. Let's continue. Let's continue the review in a second. And as I put things back here, let me just come around. And now that we're continue back here, sadly, because it's a modern car, there is no spare tire. But there is some good news, because you can lift this guy up and you can see the mounting hardware where the spare tire would go. So let's say you do buy this car and you want a spare tire instead of the tire mobility kit, you can just buy the spare tire from the non-hybrid one and put it right there. And this way save yourself a lot of trouble and waiting for AAA to show up. Anyway, let's get into the interior. Let's go over the tech, the features, and then we go for my final quick drive. Stay tuned for that. But for those of you who've never seen modern day Hyundai keys, this is what that looks like. You have lock, unlock, engine start stop, panic, trunk release in this case, parking forward and backward button. And you just press this and the car will start driving itself completely forward with nobody in it, which is a very, very unique, useful feature. Because if you have like a tight driveway or you go to a mall or whatever and you don't fit, no problem. You could just tell the car and the car will park itself. So right now I'm pressing the back button and you guys hear the car driving by itself backwards. Super unique feature, super cool. And then when you're done, you could just press the remote start button and the car will shut off. And let's step inside real quick. Getting in here is very simple affair. When you have the key on your pocket, you just approach the car and put your hand on the door handle. You can lock it by pressing this. Sadly though, they're not available in the rear or in the front. And let's step inside. This, keep in mind, this is the limited trim. So this one stickers at $40,000. There's only two options. The floor mats for like about 240 bucks and 500 for this ultimate red paint, which is very nice. So let's talk about the interior. The materials are very soft. So you got soft padded here. This one being the high trim, it does have the Bose sound system. It does have 2-position memory seats and the mirrors. Power, of course, power windows, door locks, pretty much. This has a combination of white and black seats, which, as pretty as white seats are, this will not last long staying clean. You might be a little bit of a slave. And look at this. This is a press vehicle, which, you know, this is shared among different medias and outlets, and it's already dirty, as you guys can see, which is crazy. But these seats are two-way power seats. So you got two-way lumbar support, very comfortable seats. On this side of the cluster, you have the dimmer switch. You have the battery. If the battery is dead, you press this and the car will start. You don't need a jump start. Traction control on and off, electronic parking brake, and that opens and closes the trunk because the trunk is power. You got nice little Sonata door sills. And door pockets they're a little on the small side, and the bottom of the door is hard plastic. People complain about this, but I think it makes sense that this is hard plastic because you're gonna be kicking this, and this is exposed to the elements versus up here where it counts and it matters, it should be soft, padded. Door handles are kind of like nicely integrated here. This does have ambient lighting right here. All right, let's step inside. And this is a very nice place to be. If you haven't been in modern day Hyundais and you're still living in the 1990s and you're thinking Hyundais are crap, you should see a modern Hyundai because they're very good cars. So up front, we have a very nice 3-spoke steering wheel. On the left side, you have controls for the automated cruise control. You control just speed here. On the right side, you have controls for the media. So there you can control mode, voice command, volume up and down. Track forward, backwards, volume up and down, which is a nice little, very satisfying rocker feel. And then if you click on you mute, phone pick up and hang up, and a favorites button for anything. Favorites for radio, favorite for navigation, for whatever you want to save it for. And you have 4 little dots. No more H in all Hyundai products. You just have the 4 dots, which means it's Hyundai in Morse code. Let's turn on the car because it is a little toasty in here. And in front of me are dual 12.3-inch displays. In front of me doing instrument cluster duties is one, which is 12.3. And to the right, you have another 12.3-inch display. Very, very easy to use infotainment system. Hyundai's new updated UI system is very easy. You got phone projection, that's where you go for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can leave yourself a voice memo. You got weather, sports, setup, valet mode, Hyundai Pay, which allows you to set up parking garages and be able to pay automatically. I'm a little fuzzy how that works. I don't know if the car has some kind of extra system where it knows the system pays, but whatever. Service reminder here, maintenance, so you can just, service reminder yourself, HD radio data, notifications, owner's manual, and if you go into the setup, this is where you can control the entire car. So you have vehicle, navigation, sound settings, device connections, user profile, voice recognition, screen layout, display, buttons, heads-up display, because this vehicle does have a very nice head-up display. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yep, there it is. You see a little floating 0 and speed limit, but there is no speed limit here because I'm in a public park. But you can, of course, adjust all those settings in here. The theme for the cluster right now is set to simple, but if you do, let's say you set it to classic, then it goes to traditional needles, which is cool. Going back to the paddle shifters on the steering wheel, they have actually dual function. Let's just stop for a second from things. So when you have the car in drive, in eco mode, you press these paddle shifters and you enable 3 level of regen, as you guys can see on the right hand side next to the odometer. So I have it set to level 3 right now, which is I click on it, but if I click the plus, it actually turns it off, which means when you're coming down a hill, you don't have to use your actual real brakes. You just tell the car to use the electric motor regen braking and do that braking for you, which is super cool and useful, and you don't have to use your brakes. Of course, this being a modern vehicle, it does have backup camera, but this one being the Limited does have 360 camera with trajectory lines that move. You do see the car there, and then if you press this guy here, you will see a visual representation of your car, and if you start moving, you see the image moving as well. So it's super, super cool, super useful. I don't know if you can change to match the color of the car. That would be cool if you could do that. And then you have different views. Even if you put forward, the camera stays on, and you can see this top-down view, and the lines do move. Tells you what the wheels are doing. And these are the camera views, the mirrors. That's the whole front end view. Let me see if I can put it forward. Yes, that is the front, but I'll make sure that's the front camera. And yeah, super useful. The resolution is decent. You can do all sorts of things, parking lines, and you can customize it. The shifter is on the stock, so forward for drive, back for reverse, click 1 for neutral, and then you press this little button here for P. Engine start stop buttons right here. You do have a combination of physical controls and haptic feedback. So all climate control buttons are here. You can turn it on. You have dual zone climate control. Of course, you have heated and ventilated front seats and heated steering wheel as well. So 2-level heated steering wheel right here. Down here you have USB-C ports, fast charging as well. So you could do charging only if you press that, or charging in data. This one is charging only, and then you do have a wireless charger pad right here, only one. This is just the rest, and then you have a traditional old school cigarette lighter, which I think car companies should never get rid of this because there's a lot of old school chargers out there. The vents are kind of like hidden in this very nicely integrated flow. This is imitation wood, but it looks very nice. It doesn't look bad. Materials are soft. You got speakers everywhere because this is it has the Bose sound system. The steering wheel is telescopic, super nice range of motion, not too bad. Like I said, I just drove this car for like about an hour, and I got back. I did not get back fatigued, tired, nothing for that matter. Super comfortable ride. I'm gonna say probably because of that those 17-inch wheels and those very low roading resistance tires. Anyway, and what else? Back here, you do have the drive mode selector. So you do have a couple of my drive modes. So you have Sport, which changes the gauges a little bit. You have My Drive, which is you can customize what the car is doing, and default is Eco because of course it is. It's a hybrid. And like I mentioned outside, you do have this ginormous panoramic glass roof, which looks very, very nice. Of course, you press it here. It opens both the shade and the glass. It opens, I guess you could, if you do this, let me see. Some cars you do this and you will go back a little bit more, but it won't. But it's a decent size open. Let me just flip the camera this way. And you do have a little sound net right here. So when you open in the highway, you're not drowned out by sound. If you lightly touch it once, it only closes the glass. And if you touch it hard, it will close both the glass and the shade. And again, the seats are comfortable. I do like the pattern, the design. And in here, you do have a decent sized cubby. You know, no power in there, but decent size, not too bad. This could be either a key holder, or you can put your cell phone right here. Decent sized cup holders. And that's pretty much it up front. You do, of course, have LED lighting, map lights everywhere. So, you know, super easy. Hyundai's Blue Link and the passenger warning light bulb, indicator there. And this mirror, even though it doesn't look like it, hello, it is an auto dimming mirror. There's no button, nothing. It just turns on and does this thing. Only the center mirror is auto dimming. The outside one are not. But these mirrors do have the built-in blind spot warning indicators. All right, let's jump into the back seat real quick, and then we go for our final drive and thoughts. Stay tuned for that. All right, let's jump into the back seat. And you're probably wondering, is those windows tinted? No, they're not. This car has something very unique, mostly found in SUVs and minivans, which are rear sunshades. I think every car should have this. No matter if it's a hybrid, SUV, car, it doesn't matter. If it has 4 doors, it should have this integrated, which is a very, very nice touch, especially for people who have a small family. Very nice because it hides the sun. Materials back here continue to be the same materials on the upper door panels. You got the injection molding stitching there, or poly rule stitching. Soft padded door panels. This is the door handle here. Power window, of course. They're not auto up and down like in the front. And a tiny itty bitty pocket, but that's okay. And there's a look at the seats real quick. And let me just put the seat here, and let me step in. Keep in mind, I am 5'8". The seat is adjusted to how I drive. Plenty of leg room in here. Plenty. Very, very nice place to be back here. Not a penalty box. And having this very, very large panoramic display makes the cabin airy, and it feels great in here. And of course, the shades, you can just put them like so, and then it blocks out the sun, so which is super nice. And it has it on both doors, of course, which is super nice. And again, super useful. You do have 2 center climate vents. That's another thing that should be standard in every car, no matter what trim it is. This should be standard no matter what. Down here, you do have 2 USB-C ports and no pocket behind the driver's seat, but you do have one behind the passenger seat. And you do have 2 cup holders here. And let me spin the camera around real quick. And yeah, very pleased. I have ample of headroom. No complaints here. I can take a nice drive. And that's pretty much it in the back seat of the Hyundai Sonata. Now, let's take this Hyundai Sonata Limited Hybrid for my first drive and final thoughts. Stay tuned for that. All right, let's drive the 2026 Hyundai Sonata Limited Hybrid. And let me see if I can, yep, I can stop the shade back there. And I have the car in eco mode, obviously standard mode. And you may or may not pick up, let me just put it on the hybrid screen here. Hopefully the camera picks up the screen and you guys can see the MPG on this, which is excellent. But I gotta say, I drove this car last year and I didn't get to drive it too far last year, just drove it local roads. And even then it was great. And I don't know why that guy's standing there blocking the main road, but anyway, people are funny. What are you gonna do? Yeah, the engine, you do hear it, of course, because it is a 4-cylinder engine. It is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It will turn on when the system demands it, which means when the battery is low. But once you step on the brake or let go of the gas, the engine, of course, will turn off. But again, this car drive, because it has a traditional transmission, no electronic CVT, which is two electric motors, one behaving like a generator unit, the other one generator, and the other one like a transmission. This will feel exactly like a regular non-hybrid car, which I think it was a good choice by Hyundai, instead of doing an eCVT or a regular CVT. And the car feels normal. It feels great. Yeah, the power is not gonna blow any doors. Let's just call it for what it is. But this is not a race car. You want performance, you get something different in the Hyundai lineup. Actually, the N-Line version of this has 274, which is the non-hybrid version of this car. And I haven't personally driven that car, but I'm pretty sure it should have a lot more pep than this guy, because that's geared towards performance versus fuel efficiency. But anyway, I'm trying to get to the highway so you can show you guys. But yeah, this car is very nice. I got this vehicle delivered to me one day after I got it delivered to me, which was today's Saturday, April 11th. Yesterday was Friday, April 10th. And this car is great. I mean, I'm super impressed with it. Hyundai's hybrid systems have gotten better over time, not worse, which is great. And yeah, right now, look, I'm driving regular roads and it's giving me 40.5 miles per gallon, which again is excellent. And especially right now with the current situation with the gas prices, hybrid is the way to go, in my opinion. Unless you're a homeowner and you do have a place to plug your vehicles, to plug your electric car, then yes, you could do an EV. Or if you just want to look for charging stations and you're okay with that, then of course you could do an electric vehicle. But anyway, hybrid, there is no compromise because it behaves exactly like a gas car. You still need to put gas in it. There is no range anxiety because you drive it and that's it. And here, jumping in the highway, yeah, the engine's a little loud, but again, it's fine. And putting it at 60 here, speed limit, and setting on the cruise control, you just sit here and chill. The car does its thing. This vehicle does have Hyundai's driving assist feature, but it's only in select highways. In this particular highway, it will not do anything because it's not one of those predetermined roads. But nonetheless, it does a great job of mitigating the lines, keeping you in the lanes, which is good. It will automatically brake and resume all on its own, just like any other modern Hyundai vehicle. It does have Hyundai's excellent blind spot camera. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, where it activates one camera per mirror. And right now, cars are slowing down, and the cars say, "Hey, somebody's slowing down," and it's slowing down to the speed to match the speed limit of the vehicle in front of me. As long as you leave your hands on the steering wheel, like I am right now, the car will not yell at you to hold the steering wheel. If you let go, it will do it on its own for a little bit, and then eventually you'll see a little prompt on the cluster letting you know, "Hey, please keep hands on the wheel." So, but yeah, this car is great. So according to the trip computer, I did total today 104 miles. And again, I was getting 47. I was getting 51 at one point. It's excellent. It's absolutely excellent. And doing speed limit here, I'm doing 60, and I'm getting 40. But if I were to reset, let's say if I reset the trip computer, let's see if it lets me do it while I'm driving. Yeah, I'm gonna reset it real quick. And let's see what it does. It may not do it because it's too soon, but let's see what it does. And you guys can see it's doing its thing. It's driving. I'm gonna change lanes here, take over for a little bit. And it's fine. I mean, it's great. It's a great vehicle. It does a good job. It's climbing up to 29 miles per gallon, which again, it's excellent for a car this big. It's a sedan. It's front wheel drive, so it doesn't have the all wheel drive lost and drain. But it's great. I'm rambling on, but thank you guys anyway for watching, for liking and sharing my videos. This has been my first quick look and review of the 2026 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid. And as I'm exiting my highway here, it just jumped immediately from 20 something to 35.3. And let's say, if I'm braking, it's already back to 40. I mean, this car is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. If you don't have to get the limited one, of course you can get the lower trims, and you still get a lot of money for your bang for your buck. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and for sharing and liking my videos. Leave a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, just click that subscribe button, and I will see you all on the next one. Take care and stay safe.